So today, and honestly for the rest of the week, I myself plan on not taking any trades personally because I don't feel that I am in the right headspace to be taking any trades. Probably for the rest of the week. We'll see how the days go. But that does not mean that I will not be here with you guys and still walking through the market and doing our analysis and talking about trades and trade setups and stuff. But there's times when we have to realize and do our introspection and realize that, this is a time for me that I should not be trading because of my emotional state. And if I did, it would be a disservice to you guys for myself taking trades. But I am still going to walk you guys through the market and what I see in the market. And the difference is I just will not be personally taking trades or calling out my, a trade that I'm in. But as I said before, we're going to walk through it. We're going to talk about it. I'm dealing with some pretty hard things right now, personally. Very difficult things. And yeah, I just really appreciate you guys and all your support more than you guys know. I'm not going to go into any real detail right now about what's going on, but it's tough. It's some tough stuff for myself to handle. So, like I said before, let's just talk about the market. Let's talk about what I'm seeing in the market. What I kind of looked at what happened yesterday, this morning, just real quick. And we can just kind of talk about how you guys have been doing, how your guys' trades went yesterday. If you guys did take any trades yesterday, how your sessions went with John, and so forth. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. Hey, Trade 903. What's up, Mike? Okay, guys. So I was just looking at a few things. I was looking at one move from yesterday that I found very interesting, and hopefully some of you guys spotted this. Good morning, Mimi. There was a really, interesting unicorn setup here on the 15-minute yesterday. Hey, there you go, Trade 903. So we had come down yesterday, and it looks like we created yesterday low, or our daily low. And what happened over here on ES is that we swept, this higher time frame low. So we got this higher time frame SMT divergence, and then we, created this bullish unicorn model. Notice how we created this low, high, lower low, displacement of the highs with the fair value gap, and look how we perfectly tapped into that. Right here. Tapped into that unicorn model. Look at that perfect entry model right there. And look at the bounce all the way up, creating high of day, right? Taking out previous highs. So that, to me, obviously yesterday I wasn't even whatsoever, had nothing to do with the charts or anything. I just saw that this morning when I was looking through my levels. And then, so did anybody notice this or catch this yesterday? Did anybody see this unicorn setup at all? Good morning, Slick. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Forever Loading, you caught this move? Great ride, you said. Yeah, that was some really solid momentum, man. Really solid. Very solid momentum on this trade. And the thing is, you could have also just taken the breaker entry, right? Because we created the breaker and then we tapped back into it. And we had our NWOG, our new week opening gap right here. This is exactly the level we bounced off of, was our new week opening gap, right? Right here. Got in, got out after making like 80 points. Nice. That's a solid trade. Solid trade, yeah. So you could have gotten the entry here. Let's say we created the breaker, right? Right here. And right as we closed above, right, you could have either gotten the aggressive entry or waited for us to, tap back into this and then gotten this entry, right? Or you could have waited for us to come back into the unicorn and then taken that entry all the way up there, right, to previous highs, up to these highs, so forth. And now let's talk about another unicorn model that we formed on this leg down right here and how it's overlapping new day opening gap, right? So we created, if we look at both NQ and ES, we created a unicorn model where we made this high, this low, this higher high, We displaced the low with the fair value gap, and look at that perfect bounce off the fair value gap right here. Boom, all the way down back into the bullish unicorn, back into new week opening gap. Another A+ setup right here. I'm not sure trade 903 if this was the trade you took, but if you see this high, low, higher, high, displacement of the lows. So let's just get rid of this real quick. Our lowest down close candle right here, right? That's our breaker block. Look at that. And then we have the perfect fair value gap overlapping right here. Boom. That's our unicorn. We trade into it. And, you know, we can see, let's see how many points from this unicorn we've moved. How many ticks. All right, all the way down. Yeah, this one's moved about 73 points, right? So pretty good move so far off of that unicorn model, right? So, and then again, you could have waited for this whole move. You could have waited for retracement back into the breaker. Boom, you could have taken this entry as well, all the way back down, and then look to sell once we came back into this unicorn model down here, right? Into this bearish or bullish breaker down here, because we just tapped into it. So two very solid unicorn model entries here that we've seen. This bullish one from yesterday, and then this one pre-market. So obviously, like, most people are not awake or taking trades at this time during, you know, pre-market, but just something to keep our eye on when we see these levels and when we trade back into them. Very solid levels, very solid trade entries. And then you can even break it down further into smaller time frames and find entry models within those entry models, right? But let's just go back to the daily. And again, guys, I just want to remind everybody that's joining up right now. I personally am planning on not taking any trades for the rest of the week myself. I am not in the emotional state that I should be to be taking trades, and I don't believe I will be for at least the rest of this week. And I'm going to keep you guys updated on that, you know, throughout the week. But what we're still going to do is we're still going to run our sessions, and we're still going to talk about our levels, and we're still going to walk through trade setups. We're still going to walk through entry levels, entry models. And I'm going to help you guys, you know, if there's good trade setups that I'm seeing in the market, I'm going to talk to you guys about them. I'm personally not going to be, you know, calling out my own trades because I shouldn't be taking trades right now. As I said before, that is a disservice to myself and a disservice to you guys at this point. But let's just talk about what's going on in the market, right? If we look at the daily, again, the daily hasn't broken out of this daily range, right? We have this big daily range from this swing high up here, all the way up here, down to this swing low down here, right? So this, we're just kind of stuck in between this daily range that we've been in for like the past 2 weeks. And we can't really seem to break out of it, right? Like every time it looks like we want to break out, we come back down. When we want to break out to the lows, we come back up. So we've just been kind of stuck. We've been kind of stuck. Remember to always chart out previous day high, previous day low. We're looking at those levels especially. And then go down to the 4 hour, and let's look at this 4 hour right here, right? We came down and we have not technically inversed this 4 hour busy yet. And we might not inverse it, but going into the next 30 minutes is when this 4 hour closes. So if we do close below, we would probably want to see price start coming down. Now we do have, remember we have Tesla earnings after the market closes today. A lot of predictions that I've been seeing are very bearish predictions for Tesla. Now that is not professional advice or anything. That's just what I've seen. So I'm expecting some bearish price action today. I'm expecting this market to be a little bit more bearish, to come at least down, trying to take out previous day low, take out some of these lows down here. Now it could also be a day where it's just very seek and destroy because people are just waiting for those Tesla earnings to come out before they put any real money into the market, right? Our market makers. So we could expect some seek and destroy conditions as well. Just going down to the hourly. Let's look at the hourly. The hourly looks, you know, like it really wants to come down here. But like I said before, we are bouncing off a 15-minute bullish unicorn. And then we have the 15-minute bearish unicorn. So what I would say at these levels is probably waiting for us to break through either the bullish unicorn down here or the bearish unicorn up here on the 15-minute time frame before really looking for an entry, right? Unless you see a really good solid entry model that is in between these levels. But these are two very strong support and resistance levels, so I would definitely be keeping my eye on them. And then on the hourly, right, we have this hourly bullish order block here that overlaps the unicorn. And then we have this bearish hourly order block up here that overlaps the unicorn too. So a lot of support and resistance levels. And as you can see, very seek and destroy conditions on the hourly. I mean, this has pretty much been like this since when, like last Thursday, right? Where we've just seen seek and destroy up and down, up and down, up and down, grabbing buy side, trying to grab sell side, grabbing buy side, back and forth, with no real expansion to, either no bullish expansion, no bearish expansion in our market. Like we've been talking about, we have elections coming up pretty soon in America, right? In the US. And there's a lot of uncertainty with, a lot of things going on around the world, that the market seems to be kind of in a stagnant place. It doesn't really want to expand to either side, right? That's the vibe I'm getting. That's the analysis I see from this market. So we're not expecting crazy expansion moves. So that means when you're trading, you're not necessarily looking to hold on to your trades for a long time. Like I wouldn't be looking to hold on to my trades for a long time unless there's a reason to, right? Unless we really expected price to maybe come down for a higher time frame, liquidity level, that's different. But most of these trade setups, we're going to see more scalps, right? We're going to be reading seek and destroy. And obviously the market is open right now, so we're going to start reading what's going on. But as I was pointing out to you guys, and if you guys haven't joined or just joined up, remember we have this bullish unicorn right here that we are bouncing off of right now. We have this bearish unicorn up here that we bounced off of earlier. So myself, even though I won't be taking any trades myself today, if I was taking a trade, right, and if I was looking to, execute some trade setups today, and if I were in your shoes, I would probably be waiting for us to, inverse either the bullish unicorn or the bearish unicorn and really start reading order flow and seeing, okay, we look like right now we are more likely to take out previous day low. We look very bearish right now. Then I would start looking for some bearish setups on some smaller time frames, right? But I'd really want to see us come down and close below this 15-minute breaker. Mike, you said, what do you think about that uni on the 5-minute, 5 a.m., 5:30 candle? Okay, so 5 a.m. right here, right? Are you referring to this one or this one up here? Let's see, you said 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Pacific or 5 a.m. Eastern? 5 a.m. PST. Okay, perfect. So yeah, you're referring to this one right here. Yeah, so that's a nice uni right here, a nice unicorn, right? We have, it could be either of these. It could be high, low, higher, high displacement of the lows. It could be this one, high, low, higher, high displacement of the lows. Either way, these breaker blocks line up pretty identical, right? So like you could use this lowest down close candle right here. Boom. And then we have the unicorn model right here. That's a very strong level, right? Very strong level. You already saw us bounce off the breaker block right there with a very strong wick. So definitely keep your eye on this unicorn right here, on the 15-minute unicorn up here, and another 5-minute unicorn up here, right? Over all of these unicorns are overlapping on the 5 and the 15, right? So very, 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 very good levels. I would really start keeping my eye on some SMT divergence today as well, because if we see something similar to yesterday, like this SMT with this perfect unicorn model on ES and NQ, well, this is a breaker on ES. Actually, it is a unicorn on ES as well right here, right? That was a very solid level. And what would the confluence have been? The confluence was the fact that we got SMT divergence and then created a reversal pattern after sweeping an external low, right? So that, and then we targeted what our opposing liquidity like this. So very, very nice setup here. Very nice setup in my opinion, right? Obviously I was not on the charts, but just looking back, it's good to look back at these things in previous days and read these levels. And even if you didn't take the trades or notice them, now you're starting to notice these, these really good entry models. So again, we're still trading inside of the 15-minute unicorn right now. So I would probably be waiting, like I said, for us to try and either inverse this unicorn or inverse the 5-minute and the 15-minute bearish unicorn. Not really, no. As a whole, this is another one of those days where I do expect a little bit of bearish price action, just by the way the market is looking currently. But if we've noticed anything in the past few weeks is that our bias is it should be pretty loose, because we're making more seek and destroy profile than anything, where we're not really seeing expansion on either side. We're kind of seeing us move back and forth, back and forth. So I would say it's more intra-session bias, right? What do we think we're going to do in the morning session? What do we think we're going to do in the afternoon session? And so far, right, we get our, London close reversal pretty much every single day, right? If we look here, we can see that this was pretty much a part. This was our London close reversal. This was a part of our London close reversal right here, right? Where we were bearish on the day, bearish on the day, bearish on the day. We start to get our reversal pattern. And then what happens right as we go into London close, right around lunchtime, we see our actual reversal right around lunchtime, boom, up to high of day, right? So just back and forth. So I would be more thinking of intraday bias instead of an overall daily bias. I would think, okay, in the morning session, we look pretty bearish, right? In this AM session, we look like we're trying to target some sell side. So I'd probably have more of a bearish bias in the morning. But it could be like yesterday where we completely flip after coming down and targeting sell side. We might flip right back up and go and target buy side, right, in the PM session. So I would say more not focusing overall on daily bias, but focusing more on intraday sessions, right? Let's look. You said pretty much a bull flag on higher time frames, right? Yeah, so I see exactly your point you're making, because technically on NQ, guys, we have been making higher highs and higher lows, right, consistently over here on NQ, right? And then every time we see us come back down and retest the lows, we retest support, we come right back up and make a new high. So definitely it's something to look at. But what I would say is still waiting for us to get inversion, like let's say this 5-minute unicorn model right here. Wait for us to start pushing through that and pushing above VWAP to get conviction that the longs really do want to step in, right? Or wait for us to start pushing through, the 15-minute unicorn, because let's say even if you can just have the patience for that to happen, let's say you do, even if you wait for that to happen, you can still catch, 130 tick move up to this high, or you can catch it all the way up to these highs, 250 ticks, or all the way up to previous day high, 370 ticks, right? So even if you were to just be patient and wait for us to actually reverse, and let's say we do create a bullish reversal pattern up here, that just gives you extra conviction to now look for the longs to catch all the way up, right? But it's just about being patient, because so many times what you're going to do is you're going to try to force entries here when the market has not been super clear in the past few weeks about where it wants to go in the morning. There's been certain days where we've seen strong drops, we've seen strong pumps for sure. But when we look at this market open right now, just looking at the 1 minute, the market is very unsure where it wants to go right now, right? Very choppy, it's consolidating a lot, accumulating. You just got to stay very patient and really wait for what the market wants to do. Wait for us to start disrespecting certain levels, and that's going to give you the conviction to now start looking for a trade and actually catching a good trade setup, right? Instead of trying to force your entries right here, just guessing where you think price is going to go, right? Maybe you're just guessing that the longs are going to step in solely because we're bouncing off a 15-minute unicorn, but you're not paying attention to the 1 minute time frame, right? You're not paying attention at all to what the 1 minute time frame is telling you. You got to look for more context. You got to look for the whole narrative, right? What's the narrative of the market? Don't try to force entries while price is doing this, because this is pretty bad right here. Wait for the market to show you what it's doing. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, we can look at what news is coming out today, right? We already had news pre-market. What did we have? What is today? Wednesday, right? Okay. So we have at 10 a.m. we have an orange folder, existing home sales. At 10:30 we have an orange folder, crude oil inventories. And then throughout the day, there's not really much more than that. There's one yellow folder. And then an FOMC member speaking. So not a lot going on. But yes, a few orange folder, right? So 10 a.m., that's a time to look out for volatility. And then as well as 10:30, time to look out for volatility as well. We left a 5-minute SIBI behind. So we did right here, but look how we just closed above that SIBI. Right? Notice how we just closed above the SIBI right here. So we did leave the SIBI behind, but on the 5-minute, we closed above it on this one, right? we have the unicorn up here, and then we have another 5-minute civvy here, but this one right here has already been invalidated. Are all FOMC meetings makes market go crazy? Well, it just depends what you mean by FOMC meeting. Like when it just comes to Fed speakers, it's not necessarily going to be super volatile when we just have random Fed speakers talking. But it's going to be mainly when you see red folder or orange folder when it comes to FOMC. So like when we have our FOMC actual meeting, yes, it's going to go crazy. When we have our, FOMC minutes, that's going to go crazy. But when you just see FOMC members speaking and it's yellow folder, we're not expecting too much volatility from that. Above that, starting at 24.66. Yeah, so this is actually the unicorn, right? This is the bearish unicorn on the 5-minute. So we have the high, low, higher, high. Displacement of the lows, fair value gap overlapping the breaker. This is a unicorn, bearish unicorn model, right? So that's why I was talking about this level in particular. If we're going to come up and close above, we're looking for some bullish price action. If we're going to, maybe test it and keep coming down and inverse the 15-minute bullish unicorn, we're expecting some bearish price action. But right now, not much is happening, right? We're just caught in between bullish unicorn, bearish unicorn on the 15, bearish unicorn on the 5-minute, right? So again, look at the opening 15-minute candle right here. This is all we need to see. We're about to close on it. But look at the wicks on this 15-minute opening range candle. Just super long wicks up and down. Super long wicks up and down here. So this is our opening range level, 15-minute orb, right? And it looks like we're going to close pretty much right in the middle. Pretty much right in the middle, maybe a little bit bearish. But overall, since market open, it's just super choppy. Super choppy. This is not price action you want to trade. This is not price action that even if I was going to take a trade, I would not be trading this right here. I would be waiting for probably our opening range breakout for displacement, for real market direction, right? But this right here is low probability price action right now. I would completely stay out of this. I would completely stay out of this. But so how did you guys do yesterday in my absence in terms of trading? Did you guys take trades? Did you stay out of the market? Did you do good, bad? Did you spot any good setups? How did you guys do? Shosky, so no, I'm not going to personally trade for the rest of the week, most likely. Most likely I will not trade for the rest of the week. Just in my emotional state right now, it would not be beneficial to me or to you guys for me to trade. But I'm just going to be walking you guys through the market. Through what I see. But yeah, it's just, this is not the time that I'm going to trade personally. Matthew, there's nothing for you. Christian, you made 1,500. Chris, oh man, okay. So Chris, I see you said you blew your accounts, and I've been loving, by the way, I've been loving your accountability. Been loving what you've been sending to the chat. Just being accountable for your actions and for your trades. So hopefully you are being accountable for what happened yesterday and figuring out what went wrong and learning from it and moving on. Today's a new day, right? Yeah. So, I can talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to go into great detail about, necessarily right now what I'm going through, just for personal reasons. But it's some tough stuff, man. It's really hard for me to deal with right now. And that's why I just took the day off yesterday. I needed some time. And yeah, I mean, it just would not be beneficial. And I definitely recommend this to anybody else. When you're going through, a rough time in your life where your emotions are at a very high state, it's really just best to not trade. Really just best not to trade, because you're going to find that your trades are going to be either, they're probably going to be pretty bad, or even if they are good, you're going to start letting your emotions really take control of your trading. So that's why I am going to stay out, right? It's just not, it's not in my best interest, and it's not in your guys' best interest. Yeah, thank you, Honest Money, and thank you to everybody. Thank you, Chris. Thank you everybody that reached out to me. You guys really mean the world to me. Um, your messages, I read through all of them. I wasn't really able to respond to all of them, um, but I truly am very grateful for you guys. And this community means more than you guys can understand. Yeah, and, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. It's just gonna be a tough little patch of of some tough. It's gonna be tough to get through for a little bit, but I know I'll be okay. I know God's in control. I know everything's in God's plan, and He will work it out how it's supposed to work out. Morning, Frank. Thank you, man. So yeah, just back to the charts a little bit. Just very choppy, very low probability. I would not be taking trades if I were you guys in this market right now. Does not look too good yet. I would really be waiting for manipulation and then distribution, or just waiting for distribution. Buenos dias, Pablo. Gracias, mi hermano. Gracias. Thank you, Trade Now 3. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so again, we're just going to walk through these charts, walk through what I'm seeing, walk through what you guys are seeing. I'm going to answer any questions you guys have. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. Let me know. What are you guys seeing in this market? What are you feeling about your trades? Yeah, I guess that's my new name, Rob, is Tio Joe. Uncle Joe. I am about to be an uncle, so it makes sense. Well, the stash is gone now. If you guys haven't seen, the stash is gone. The stash is gone now, guys. Now I am basically Baby Joe. I'm pretty much Baby Joe now. But it's time for a change. It's time for a new period of life. Thank you, D-Shot This. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, Jolly. So I will be, right? I will be looking for trades to, hopefully be able to call out to you guys. That is why I'm on here, right? And if there's, so far, there's nothing worth trading yet. But if there is something, yes, I'm going to be, looking to call it out for you guys. Okay, I can show you guys my baby face real quick if you guys really want to see. Yeah, no, literally everywhere I go, they're going to be like, you are not 21. No eyebrows. Please, no. All right. I'll show you guys my face. I thought I already showed you, but I guess not. It's rough, guys. It's all gone. How old do I look right now? It's kind of sad. Baby Joe. I'm literally Baby Joe now. Like, if you guys just didn't know me, if you randomly saw me in public, how old would you think I am? You look 16 to 25 now. You have a beard. Grow a Duck Dynasty beard? I probably could. It's crazy. I took my watch in, this was months ago. I took my watch in to get it fixed for a wedding I was going to. And the lady literally asked me, this is before I had the mustache. The lady literally asked me, she said, "Are you going to prom?" She asked me if I was going to prom, and I was like, I didn't know to feel insulted or to feel happy that that I look young. I just thought that was pretty funny. I was like, no, I'm actually 23. I'm not going. That'd be really weird if I was going to prom. Thank you, Honest Money. 17. Okay, 1 vote for 17. Trade Down, I think, thinks I look 28. All right, I usually get that when I have my facial hair grown out. Yeah, exactly. Like I was borrowing my dad's watch to go to prom. Yeah, man, feels weird. I haven't had a fresh, clean-shaven face and a clean-shaven head for a long time. I look 19. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grow out some facial hair again. If I ever want to buy a beer again, I'm gonna have to grow out some facial hair. I might have to. I might have to go full beard, let it just keep going down with the stash. And in what you haven't shaved in 7 years, bro. So you probably got a nice beard, huh? Santa Claus. Looks like I can legally drink now. Yeah, guys, I'm finally 21. Yeah, I pretty much shaved my head at the worst possible time, going into my first real winter in Utah where it's going to be actually freezing. Trade Down 3, you're only 17? That's crazy. Hey man, you're getting a head start on all of us, that's for sure. I don't know who else started that young, but I didn't start when I was 17. So you're getting a nice head start. Time is money. That's very true. Dude, I always think about like I wonder where I would be at this point if I started when I was 17. Because that's like, that gives me like an extra, what, 3 years? That gives me like an extra 3 years, basically. Pretty wild. Uh, I know what you're saying, Endo. I know what you're saying. No bueno. A lot of us have been there. How did I discover trading? So my like first initial discovery of just like buying and selling stocks like was during COVID. Um, I had kind of started hearing about stuff like I had known about stocks obviously for a long time, but then that whole thing during COVID started happening with all the meme stocks and meme coins and everything and AMC and all these crazy stocks. So that's when I started getting into it, and I made some good money from some stupid investments that ended up just making me like a good amount of money, even though I had no clue what I was putting my money into. But I made some good money. And then I found that Danny was getting into trading, or so then I started reaching out to Danny and asking him about his trading, and just kind of being a student, of just trading in general and just kind of learning what he was doing. And that's when I first started kind of just getting into it myself. It was like around 2020, 2021 was when I first started like, at least researching and not necessarily like getting really into the nitty gritty, but just starting to learn stuff. And then 2021 is when I really started to, actually start trying to trade. And basically all the money that I had made from the meme stocks and all the money, that either someone had given me to invest or that I had saved up, I blew through within a few months with live accounts. And because I really didn't know what I was doing, like I didn't have the education that I should have to be trading the way I was. And I was trading options. And then I was like, you know what? Then Danny and me found out about futures. And Danny was like, bro, you got to check out futures. I was like, okay. So then I started checking out futures. And then I was like, okay, I have like, I don't remember how much I had left, but I had like $500 left or something like that in my account. I was like, all right, this is going into futures. And I just like literally within one afternoon, I lost the $500 in futures because I had no clue how volatile it was. I didn't understand like the true risk of it. And I was like, oh my God, like that's insane. So I basically blew through all my money in the first year. And that kind of made me take a step back and start realizing that maybe I should actually learn how to do this the right way and stop gambling and actually learn how to do this. So that's when I really got into like, okay, I'm gonna focus my time on actually learning how to do this. And it still took me a long time. It still took me, about 2 years to really dial in exactly the trader I wanted to become and to see any consistency whatsoever. When the group kept requesting for Joe for live trades. Interesting times, man. It's crazy the periods of life we go through. Because, like, again, I would have never imagined having my own community, my own Discord. That's not something that I thought I was going to do, at least not in the time that I did it. But things work out sometimes in the way that you least expect it. That's pretty cool, that we were able to do this and, create this community, not even, like, when I was least expecting to do that, to break off on my own and then to, have Braden and John be partners with me in this. And I really think, I do believe everything's in God's timing, and I think it's worked out pretty awesome so far. Yeah, pretty bad PA right now for sure. You're about 3 months new to futures. Yeah, man, futures, when you first get into it, like if you traded something else before, you're like, what is this? Because it's just so volatile, especially NQ. It's just so wild. But when you actually learn how to trade it, it's just, in my opinion, so much better than options. So much better, in my opinion. Other people might like options better, but I love it so much more. I think it's so much better. But you have to learn how to manage your risk a lot better than in options. I mean, you still have to be a good risk manager in options, obviously, but with the volatility in futures, you have to know how to manage your risk, or you will get absolutely eaten up. But just, I like it so much more. Endo, you said this is your first year trading futures, started with Bitcoin and Ethereum, just buying and holding, never really tried. Yeah, I mean, again, also, yeah, getting into actual, Bitcoin and crypto. I've done some crypto as well, but I've never day traded crypto, but obviously like more long-term stuff. Market may manipulate up to the 5-minute. Well, yeah, that would be nice to see, right? I think what you need to be waiting for at this point is manipulation, right? Are we going to manipulate up out of this accumulation zone? Are we going to come up into the 5-minute bearish unicorn and then come back down and distribute? Are we going to come down and take out sell side lows and then reverse to buy side, right? But you have to wait for the manipulation here. You cannot be taking trades in this price action right now. You cannot be trading this right here. Did Danny have a mentor or you? Yeah, Danny had a mentor for a little bit. I think that's who we first started learning from, and then I think he kind of branched off on his own from that. And then I never really had a mentor myself. Like, I learned some trading stuff from Danny, but that was more supply and demand. And it wasn't really like a one-on-one kind of mentorship. We've just been friends for a long time, so I was just, picking his brain about things. But in terms of like ICT and futures, I've never had a mentor. I've learned everything from educating myself through YouTube videos, through studying, through back testing, through losing a lot of money, right? That's how I've educated myself. So I never had, and again, if I had, an actual mentor, I think I would, I think I probably would have succeeded a lot faster than I did, for sure. No doubt about that. But again, it was just a part of my story, and it was a part of my timing and my plan. So, but I really do believe having a mentor will definitely quicken, make your time a little bit quicker if you're actually passionate about it, if you're actually going to put in the time and learn what the mentor has to say. It definitely makes the process a little bit easier, I should say. I don't know about quicker. I think it can make it quicker, but it definitely makes the process a lot easier. Okay, guys, we just manipulated down. We just grabbed some sell side here. All right, so this is when you kind of start looking at, we just closed on the hour, right? So let's look at the hourly. So the hourly already came down, grabbed previous hour low. And typically when we see this is when we look for reversal and silver bullet longs. But we also want to look at the 15-minute opening range. All right, let's look at the opening range, because if we start breaking out of the 15-minute opening range, then you're expecting price to continue down. But right now, we just manipulated down, grabbed sell side out of the accumulation range. So what you would be looking for at this point is, are we going to start breaking out to sell side, or are we going to start reversing and then inversing a 1-minute SIBI right here? And if we inverse the 1-minute SIBI, that's when you're starting to look for longs to catch up, right? But if we're going to start breaking out, you're now looking for a fair value gap entry down to sell side, exactly, down to like previous day low. Let's see. Good morning, Mark. What's up, man? Options feel super manipulated. Yeah, I agree. They do feel very manipulated. If you know how to trade Forex first, you know how to trade everything. I've heard people say that before. I've never traded Forex, but I have heard people say that. SPX and DTE. Yep. Yeah, I used to trade a lot of QQQ. I trade a lot of QQQ, Tesla, options, I'm saying. Like a lot of SPY. Those are the main options I was trading. And then I would obviously go trade other ones. But I really didn't know what I was doing. I knew a little bit. Started last November, almost a year, and got a couple payout in blue mini evals and PAs. That's how it goes, man. But at least you've gotten a couple payouts, right? Because most people are not able to get the payouts within the first year, and mainly just blow accounts. So at least you've been able to get a payout. So let's look at the market real quick. All right, so we are breaking out. Like I said, where would we want to go? Probably down to previous day low here. But we'd want to also look at, if we get SMT down here at previous day low, we might see a reversal. Remember, overall, what did I say? In AM session, I was looking for us to be a little bit bearish. We've chopped around a lot, but we're starting to get that opening range breakout. So we'll just see how far this is going to go. All right, is this going to actually go to previous day low? But you still have to look for actual fair value gap entries here. You can't just start chasing price, right? You cannot start chasing price. Yeah, we did have negative news with existing home sales. Did have some negative news there. So this one looks like it wants to come down and grab some sell side. MB, yeah. So I personally most likely will not take any trades myself the rest of the week. But again, we're still going to run our sessions, and we're still going to be on here talking through the market, looking through, what I'm seeing and everything. Let's see, previous day low would be nice. I do think we're coming for previous day low right now. Looks like that's what we're trying to grab here. So we really just got to wait and see, right? We have like 10 minutes on the 15-minute candle. So this 15-minute, if this 15-minute comes down and just manipulates, and then we start seeing a reversal and it closes inside of the unicorn, then we might expect price to continue up, right? And if not, if we're going to see this real opening range breakout and we're going to come down and get displacement, then this one's probably going to start targeting some actual external lows down here, right? Targeting swing lows, swing low, swing low. So just looking at what this 15-minute does, and then reading price action on the 5 and the 1 minute are going to be very helpful too, right? Because you can start looking for this 5-minute fair value gap entry if we create the 5-minute SIBI and we trade back into it. And just looking for 1-minute entries, you could look for an order block entry here, right? But this to me is not the best entry because we're already almost down at previous day low. We're already almost at previous day low, so this is where you want to be careful because this is where we could start seeing reversal. But now we see both NQ and ES sweeping previous day low. So that means we might start seeing continuation down. We might see some continuation down here. All right, so now we have a 1-minute bearish order block. You can start looking at this 1-minute bearish order block here, minus OB. You could look for price to trade into it. You could wait for the next fair value gap entry, but now you want to start looking for where's our next sell side liquidity. Well, we have sell side right here that we haven't taken. And then we have sell side down here at the swing low at this wick. Right there. And then we have more sell side down here at the swing low. All right, so there's a lot of sell side liquidity down here on external. That price could definitely come down to target. But you just want to start looking for a real entry model because now we are in silver bullet, right? So now you're starting to look for fair value gaps. You're starting to look for fair value gaps like this one. And then you're starting to look for the reactions off of those fair value gaps if we trade into them. All right, let's say you're trying to catch that. You're trying to look for it all the way down to here. All right, so now, right now what you'd look for is a bounce off this fair value gap. You don't just get the entry just because we trade into it. But if we start to bounce, that's when you're looking for your entry right here, right? That's a pretty solid bounce off that fair value gap. Pretty solid bounce there, so that's where you're looking for your entry. You just got to be careful because look at ES over here. You need to make sure we're really bouncing. Make sure we're really bouncing from this level. But this is the first like silver bullet entry level there's been. But we're so low when we just took out external sell side that this is where you want to be a little bit more careful just in case we get more pullback, right? Because like let's say, because look at this fair value gap, right? The fair value gap itself is only 48 ticks, but we could easily retrace all the way up to the equilibrium of this order block, which puts you at like 100 plus ticks for a stop loss. Right? So that would be the very aggressive entry off the bounce. You just want to be careful here, right? Anytime we take out external liquidity, like the previous day low, you need to look for, expect some pullback or reversal, right? Pullback or reversal. And then if we do get a nice bounce and we start forming good structure, you just take the shorts down to the next external low. All right? So now we're trading into that order block, but this is where you want to be careful. This is where you want to stay very patient. Let me read through some of your guys' messages. Let's see. Just reading through some of your guys' stuff. Is that considered equal lows at 2342 as well? 2342. Let's look. 2342. Yeah, so these would be relative to equal lows. These would be, and now we have even more relative to equal lows because, look, we didn't take out that low. And we just formed another low down here. So this is still, we have some more lows here, right? Relative to equal lows right here. So definitely a strong target. Okay, so where are you looking, what are you looking for now? Okay, let's say you really want to target shorts, right? Let's say you think these shorts are going to keep going. You would need to see right here, I would wait for inversion of this fair value gap right here, right? And then I would look for shorts. I would need to see inversion though. This is why you guys always hear me talking about waiting for structure. I like to wait for structure to form because if you just start chasing this entry right here, like I said, it was an aggressive entry level and you could have tried to target that, but it's so aggressive because you haven't waited for more structure to form and we just took out external sell side. So that's why you want to be careful and wait for us to start forming some fair value gaps like bullish fair value gaps. And then once we run through those bullish fair value gaps, that's now when you have confirmation that the shorts do want to continue, right? Let's look at the 5-minute. And then we have this 5-minute SIBI above as well. 5-minute SIBI above right here. So you could wait for us to trade into the 5-minute SIBI here, which it looks like we're trying to do. But also remember the 15-minute hasn't closed. We have 4 minutes. If this 15-minute comes up and closes inside of the unicorn model here, expect a reversal at this point, right? If we close inside of this unicorn, inside of this breaker, I would expect reversal. But if we get a nice bounce off of this 5-minute SIBI, and then we come down and inverse some 1-minute bullish fair value gaps, that's now when you're looking for shorts again. KT. So the reason I am not trading myself is because I'm going through some stuff right now personally. My emotions are at a very high state. Not a good place for me to be taking trades. So I'm going to be probably not taking trades for the rest of the week. But I'm still going to be looking, at the charts and helping you guys walk through trades, walk through the charts, see what I'm seeing. But yeah, just by doing some introspection and realizing that what I'm going through it's not something that I want to be trading during. So yeah, I'm just gonna give this week a rest. I'm not gonna risk any capital, and I'll reevaluate this weekend and see how I'm feeling. Be like, okay, I feel like I have a good handle on my emotions. Awesome, I'll start trading again on Monday. That's kind of my plan right now. Yeah, exactly, Daily. daily Ayesh, like wait for us to tap into the 5 minute 100% and then wait for inversion. That's perfect, right? That's the entry model right there. So you wait for a nice bounce off this 5 minute, and then you wait for us to inverse a 1 minute busy, and then boom, you take shorts down to these external lows, down to this external low. That's just way more confirmation that bearish order flow is in control. Because if not, if price comes all the way back up here in the next 2 minutes and closes up here, that means the 15 minute is respecting a bullish unicorn, and this might be power of 3, and we might see the long start stepping in, right? Yeah, KT. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Yeah, man. I know everything's in God's plan. Just gotta give it to Him. Trust Him with with everything. So I know I'll be all right. Yeah, so we're bouncing off the 5 minute. We have about a minute and 10 seconds left on the 15 minute candle. You too, Alpha. You too. Te amo. Te amo. Thank you, Chickling. Thanks, man. That means a lot. It means a lot, man. Thank you, Abundant Wealth, as well. I will, man. I will. So we got about 30 seconds left here on the 15 minutes. The unicorn fair value gap is, technically right here, right? So it looks like we're going to close below. So I would expect, bearish price action here, because now we will inverse the bullish unicorn. Remember what I said? I'd probably wait for us to inverse the bullish unicorn before looking for any trades. And if we don't, I'd be careful here because we might see a reversal. This one's coming back up. Okay, so we got full inversion here of the 15-minute bullish unicorn. Full inversion. So this is where I would want to see shorts start stepping in. Right, off the 5 minute bearish fair value gap here, the 5 minute SIBI. But I would still be waiting personally for us to really come down and start creating more 1 minute bearish structure, inverse a 1 minute bullish fair value gap, things like that. Wow, man. Thank you, Alpha. Gracias, man. That means a lot. 30, married with 6 kids, man. That's crazy. You got 6 kids at 30? Good for you. Good for you. Can imagine that's not easy work, man. That's not easy work, supporting a family like that. Props to you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, man. All right, guys. So, yeah, just looking at the market. I would just be waiting at this point. Right? I know some of you might have looked for that aggressive entry there, but you always got to be thinking about, okay, why should I not take this trade, and why should I take this trade? Right? And if there's some strong enough reasons why you shouldn't take the trade, then you should probably stay out. Right? If it goes against your plan, if it's really aggressive, if we just took out external sell side, then you probably want to wait for the pullback and then wait for more structure. Te amo, Pablo. Te amo. Yeah, so just have some patience today, guys. Practice patience as much as you can. As much as you can. On a day that we have major earnings coming out, after the market, you got to practice patience. You got to be expecting more seek and destroy and not as solid of price action, right? As we've seen so far since market open. Very, very choppy, and then we see okay, a move down, but is this manipulation or is this distribution? If this is distribution, then we're just waiting now for structure to really show us that bearish order flow is in control. And then we're looking for the next little, small breakout trade. And if this is actually manipulation, we're waiting for us to come up and start inversing bearish levels and show us that this is a power of 3 and that we're going to start seeing some little bit of expansion up to buy side. All right, what I don't want you guys to do today is to start forcing trades in not optimal conditions. Right, because there's going to be times throughout the day where we have more optimal trading conditions, and there's going to be times where like this, where this is not a good, area to trade right here. So stay away from this kind of price action. Try to find trades throughout this type of price action and wait while we're in this price action, right? Stay away from this and then try to find entries throughout this. Right, this is the price action you want to see right here, but you need to also find your entry models. So we'll see right now, okay, is price going to start breaking through all these bearish imbalances, or are we going to start really dumping and creating bearish order flow? And then we'll see right now if we create SMT divergence at the lows. Yeah, exactly, Mike. If we get SMT right now, we might start seeing that reversal happening pretty soon, right? If ES comes down and sweeps this low here, we're going to see some SMT divergence right here. And that means we're probably going to start seeing a reversal on NQ to come grab buy side. So keep your eye on that right now. Keep your eye on that. Maybe we should listen to some jams, huh? Listen to some music. Chill out a little bit. I think that's a solid idea. What do you guys think? Okay, we just got SMT here. SMT divergence. So if NQ doesn't come down and take that low, we expect reversal. But if NQ starts coming down and inversing this bullish for value gap, we're now looking for shorts. So this is a very crucial moment right here. Very key level. This might be the reversal here. Similar to something we saw yesterday, right? We had SMT, and then we saw the full-on reversal up to highs of day. Look at that bounce off the 1 minute busy. Getting SMT divergence. So now we start looking, okay, if NQ starts pumping above this high and creating bullish for value gaps, if it starts creating bullish for value gaps, we're most likely going to start seeing this reversal here. If we start running through this 5 minute SIBI, but don't rush it because look, this one could reverse all the way up to here. It could reverse all the way up to here. So don't rush it. If this is similar to yesterday, we might still see a lot of reward on this trade. But if you rush this trade and you just jump into a long just because you think it's going to be a reversal, this one could easily come back very fast and stop you out and then make the move. And then you're going to try to force another trade. And you're going to keep trying to force these trades when the move has not fully set up yet. So you just got to stay patient and wait for it. Wait for that move. Right? Because again, we're in a 5 minute SIBI right here. As much as we want to see if this reversal is going to step in here, you still got to stay patient. So we got check number 1, check number 2, where we get SMT at the lows. We grabbed external sell side. We bounced off a 1 minute busy. That's like 3 check marks right there. But what's the next check mark that we got to see? And I'm glad you asked the whole, what would you be waiting for reversal? That's exactly what I was going to talk about, right? I love that question because that's what we got to be thinking about. I would probably personally, I'd be waiting for us to start, trying to close above this 5 minute SIBI. Or creating really strong bullish order flow inside of the SIBI. So like let's say, for example, we're all the way up here, but we're creating some strong bullish for value gaps that we're bouncing off of. I wouldn't even need to wait for the inverse. I would start looking for my entry. But if we're just kind of weekly moving up like this with not a lot of, momentum or order flow, then I'd be waiting for us to close above that 5-minute before I even look for a long entry. Because, like I said, if you took the super aggressive entry right here, I mean, we could chop around for the next 30 minutes, right? We could do the same thing we did over here. So you want to be waiting for good order flow and good price action before you're jumping into any entries. Right? When is the only time you guys see me be aggressive in my trades is when we have really good price action and prices running with a lot of momentum. That's when I get a little more aggressive because I know we have good PA and I know our likelihood of seeing the trade play out the way we want it is higher. That's when I get more aggressive. I don't get more aggressive when price action looks like this, right? Because it's just very choppy. We've made one move so far today, and it's been a very small move. This is the only move we've made. And we've been open for almost an hour, right? The market's been open for almost an hour, and we've only made one real move. So this is not aggressive price action. This is conservative price action. This is where we wait. At least that's the way I look at this kind of price action. All right, so now we're just kind of sitting in this consolidation range right here. We're just accumulating. Accumulation. No bueno. We don't like this. We don't like this. How would you say, como se dice, we don't like this in Espanol? Nosotros no me gusta esto. No nos gusta. Okay, now you guys have me confused. Because I know saying I don't like this is no me gusta, right? So, but saying we don't like this, no nos gusta, is like nosotros. Right, so nos. So no nos gusta. Okay. No nos gusta, right? We do not like this. Thank you guys. Thank you for the help. We don't like this. This is not good. This is not good PA. We stay away from this. Stay away. Far from this. Run from this, right? Run from this right now until you see it start clearing up. Until you see good price action stepping in. Like if we come down here, we inverse this 1 minute busy, and we see price running, that's when we start thinking about shorts again and good, continuation. Yeah, so more news coming out in 5 minutes. Yeah, 100%, Tony. Like, man, if you guys find yourself looking at this price action and not being able to control your emotions, then just hop off. Don't even look at your charts. There's no point, right? There's no point. Go do something else. Go spend your time, better than what you would be if you were just staring at these charts. If you can handle your emotions, right, then that's cool. But you have to be doing something actively. If you're just staring at these charts like this with no plan, no intent whatsoever, that's when you're going to go crazy. But if you can look at these charts and start charting out your levels, right, and looking at, okay, this is where I would go short, this is where I would go long, this is a good fair value gap, this is a good order block. As long as you're walking through these levels, you're practicing. But don't sit here in front of the charts and not get any practice in, because then that is just a waste of your time. Practice, 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 right? Practice makes permanent. Practice makes permanent. Continue to practice. Yeah, exactly. Keeping a demo account is so smart for days like this. If this is a day where you can't handle your emotions too well, if you need to trade, then just trade with a paper account and get some practice in. That's fine. That is fine. What is, well, Chickling, even if I was going to trade, like even if I was going to paper trade this, I still wouldn't be paper trading this right now. I still wouldn't even be paper trading this. This price action is not worth it yet. What is the best time frame to look at the VIX? I personally like to look at the 30-minute and the 1 hour, and sometimes even higher, like the 4 hour. I like to get a bigger understanding of the VIX, on like higher time frames. And then when I'm going to look through my trades, I'll start looking at like the 30-minute and the 15-minute and just kind of seeing, okay, what is the VIX doing currently compared to what it's been doing overall in the day and get a better understanding. Okay, so now this is when you start thinking about longs here, right? This is when we start thinking about longs. This is what I was saying. We're starting to create better order flow. Fair value gap. We're creating a good sized fair value gap right here. Look at that. We're starting to see some good order flow. Not too bad. This is when you start looking for longs. Obviously, if you're going to be very conservative, you want to wait for us to really come up and inverse this 5-minute SIBI up here. Oops, right here. This is if you're being very conservative. You're going to wait for us to close above that level on the 5-minute. But if we start seeing good order flow, we start seeing the reversal, we trade into a good, fair value gap, you can take a more aggressive entry, assuming that these longs are going to step in. Joe, 1 minute, 1 chart at 10:14, would that be a breaker? 10:14, 10:14. So technically it's not a true breaker on NQ, but it is over here on ES, right? Because NQ didn't come down and sweep this low, but I still consider this kind of a breaker block because ES has come down and swept and we got the SMT. This is very similar to yesterday, where we came down, swept external lows, and then we get SMT at the lows on one of our time frames, and then we reverse. So yes, this still could be kind of a breaker block, right? Because although we didn't take out the low, we did on ES, and this is going to be a very strong support level right here. So you could still chart that level out and then look at the fair value gap and almost treat this kind of like a unicorn here. Right, so you could still look at this level. Just know it's not like technically it's not, in my model, it's not technically a breaker, but it is a good level. Matthew said, I don't know if try to take a trade right now, bro. Should I just lock off for the day? A $20 loss. Yeah, I mean, the price action is starting to get much better, right? So if there's something, you could start to look for some good trades here because this is actually starting to get, pretty good here. This is the reversal we were talking about, but only if you are in a good head state and a good emotional state. That's the only time you should be trading, right? If you find yourself not in the best emotional state right now, then probably don't take a trade. Probably, get off the computer and do your thing. But I would start looking for longs here off the first fair value gap entry. I'd be careful up at this point just because we're inside of the 5-minute SIBI and we just bounced off a 1 minute. But these longs look like they're trying to take control here. So I'd start looking for a fair value gap entry. Preferably it would be down from, this fair value gap down here. Right? Preferably it'd be from this fair value gap. Or what I would wait for is for us to then close above, this 5-minute SIBI above VWAP and then look for another long position up here, targeting these highs, targeting high of day up here. So I'd be waiting for a good fair value gap entry. Because right now, this is a good fair value gap entry here. Right here would be a nice fair value gap to, to target a long position off of. Be pretty solid level. Pretty solid level. And again, let's say we do close above this 5-minute SIBI, this 1-minute SIBI, then you can look to target an order block entry from this 1-minute order block. You can look to target an inverse entry off this 1-minute inverse fair value gap here. Right, so there's some different entry opportunities you can look to take. We just traded through the opening price of this bearish candle, right? So this is now validating this order block. Whereas I would want to see it close above this level to really validate the order block. But as we start to trade through the opening price, That is now telling me that we're starting to respect this as an order block level, as a support level. And then once we close above, that really is telling me that we're respecting this, right? Do we see that? How we started trading above opening price, and now we're starting to push above the wick. So this to me is starting to become a bullish order block that we could see as a strong support level. We just want to see us really start pushing through the 5-minute and the 1-minute SIBIs up here. And once we can do that, if we can close above the 5-minute, that is the ultimate conviction right there that I would start looking for a long. Right, and you can wait 2 more minutes hopefully to see that happen. If you can be patient enough, just wait 2 more minutes, wait for us to close above this 5-minute, and then look for your long entry. You could even wait for an inversion of this 1 minute, take the inverse fair value gap, and then look, you still got to look at what's your risk to reward. Okay, let's say you got an entry all the way up here, or even if you waited for us to close above VWAP, you keep your stop down here, right? Just say we form a nice low down here. So first, you're looking to take out this high. So you still get almost 100 ticks to this high, even from VWAP. And then you're looking to take out these highs up here, right? And you're still looking at over 200 ticks up to those highs. So you can be patient and still catch good trades. Okay, we're getting inversion now, guys. We're getting inversion. So this is when we start thinking about taking the long. You could take the aggressive entry off of this right here already. I would be careful with VWAP right here. I would almost want to wait for us to close above VWAP. But if you're being a little more aggressive here, I would already look for my entry right as we started trading above this 1-minute SIBI. Right? Or you wait for us to close above the 1-minute SIBI here. And then once we trade back into it, look for your entry. Keep your stop below the inverse fair value gap. And then you look to catch it up to the 5-minute unicorn model up here. Catch it up to the 5-minute unicorn. Right, so here's the aggressive entry that I said. We're already pumping. We're already pumping off this aggressive entry. But now if you didn't get that aggressive entry, you can wait, right? Just wait for pullback. Wait for pullback. Wait for some pullback here. Okay, boom. We just got inversion of a 5-minute and a 1-minute. Perfect. Now you wait for us to come back into the inverse. And you get your entry off the inverse, right? Get your entry off the inverse. Look for the longs, take them up to highs. So right here, this is where I would start thinking about another long position. The only hard part about this is VWAP being here, but I still like the longs here. So you have to be willing to take the risk, right? If you're going to take a long around VWAP, if you're going to get in a trade right now around VWAP, you have to be willing to take the risk. But these longs look pretty good because we just inverse this 5-minute right here. We inversed a 1-minute, and now we're bouncing off the 1-minute inverse. So they do look pretty good to me. I would make sure that I have my stop below the inverse fair value gap here at least. And then again, if I got stopped out, let's say I got an entry here, and then I get stopped out of it because price wants to retrace, I would still be looking for re-entries to take back up to the longs. Hey, there we go, Christian. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Of course, bro. I appreciate you a lot. Thanks, man. All right, we have a 2-minute busy here. So this is where you would really want to see a bounce from. You would really want to see a bounce from here, especially if we are going to trade into this inverse 5-minute. You really want to see us start bouncing from this 2-minute busy here. So it's always going to be a risk taking a long right when we're trading right below VWAP. It's always going to be a risk because we do usually see a little bit of a bounce from here. A little bit of retracement, right? Not necessarily a ton of retracement. But just remember, it's always going to be a slight risk to take a trade right around VWAP. But I still do like these longs ultimately. We've seen the reversal. We're now trading into an inverse fair value gap. And I do believe we're at least going to try to make it up to this 5-minute bearish unicorn up here. Just look for some retracement here. Be careful of this retracement. We just tapped into the inverse now. So a strong retracement, right? Very strong pullback move off of VWAP. Always understand your risk. We are now in the 5-minute inverse, 2-minute inverse, or 2 minutes bullish fair value gap, 1-minute inverse, right? We got to start seeing these longs. The 15-minute looks really good. It looks like it wants to start pumping up, to the 15-minute imbalance, 5-minute unicorn up here. We do have a 5-minute busy below, right? So at the furthest, this is the furthest I would want to see NQ come down to, would be this 5-minute busy. But I wouldn't even want to see it come down to that level at this point. I'd want to see it just start pumping from here. This is why you keep your stop below the inverse fair value gap on the 1 minute, just in case of this kind of retracement. Because if this one is going to start pumping, you just gave yourself the room to let this one pump. And if not, we're probably going to come down to the 5-minute busy down here around the 15-minute orb. And then you just wait for a bounce off the 5-minute busy, right? Then you would just wait for the bounce. So, as I always say, anytime you take a trade, you have to know your risk. You have to understand exactly what you're risking every single trade. And if you are in this trade, you shouldn't have to stress about if this is going to work out or not, because again, you know that win or lose, you are willing to lose the amount of money you put into the market. And then if you're going to win, you should be making more than what you risked in the first place. Do I find that most of the time your stop is under the 1 minute bar? Yeah, so that's what I try to do, Chris. That's what I try to do. So when it comes to like silver bullet, like during this hour of price action, what I like to do is when we have a silver bullet fair value gap or an inverse fair value gap, usually what you want to do is keep your stop below the wick, right, of that fair value gap candle. So let's say this is the fair value gap candle right now that we're using for this entry because it's the inverse. So where's the wick? It's right down here. There's no wick on this candle, but the low of the candle, right? So like right here, this is where you want to keep your stop. And look at, that's where I'm keeping my stop. Because price will come down and test this full fair value gap sometimes, the full inverse, and you want to keep it below the lowest price of that candle, because what I found most of the time is that when we do that, we give ourselves a chance to see continuation and not come down and stop us out. What's holding us down? So VWAP is the main reason right here we're being held down. And we also have some order blocks, and this is a strong accumulation zone, right? So right now we're kind of being held down by all of the orders that are sitting in this accumulation level, right? So a lot of orders sitting here, as well as VWAP is right here. And that's why that's one of the first things I said to you guys that are trading. Whenever we have VWAP or we're trading right below VWAP, it is more risky to take a trade in the longs here because of the possibility of pullback, right? Because VWAP is a very strong level that can hold us down. But ultimately, with my price action, with my analysis, I would want to see these longs step in. That's what it looks like we are trying to do. We just have to be aware of this pullback and of VWAP trying to hold us down, of a 1 minute order block and a 15-minute order block here, right? These levels are all trying to keep us down because we have a ton of orders over here. So right now it looks to me like we're trying to fight through, but there's still a lot of bearish orders here, right, from this accumulation, from this initial drop right here, where people are trying to get back in the shorts once price comes back up to this gap right here. So what does that mean? Well, all the people that were trying to get in shorts here that missed out on the initial move, a lot of them are waiting for price to come back up and then get their entry once we come back up and fill this imbalance. So there's a lot of orders here, right? But what do we, trading like the institution, what do we want to see? We want to see us close above where most of these people's orders are sitting and then push through the order blocks where a lot of their orders are sitting. And once we see inversion of this level, that is telling me that now bullish order flow, we have more bullish orders and, more, what should I say? The word I'm thinking of, I can't think of the word, but just more bullish price action that is trying to take control and really finish out the reversal, right? So that's why if we came up into this imbalance or into this order block and we saw a strong bounce from it, then we wouldn't be looking to long. But since we came up and we closed above a 1 minute and a 5 minute bearish imbalance, that's showing us that now bullish order flow is more in control. Now we just have a little bit more to fight through because we're still in this accumulation, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Exactly, right? AMD, accumulation, manipulation, and now we're waiting for distribution. We are now waiting for distribution here. So again, even if you got the aggressive entry here, you're still sitting in this trade and your trade still looks very good because you kept your stop loss below the inverse, below the low of the inverse candle, right? You gave yourself room, and even if you got the aggressive entry, you should still be able to hold this trade because we have respected the consequent encroachment of this inverse. We still have not closed below the consequent encroachment. Now, if this is a trade that you don't feel comfortable with because of VWAP, then that's fine. You can get out around break even or take a small loss or get out a little bit in the profit and move on from this trade. If you have the conviction and you really like the setup and you know your risk, you should be able to keep holding it, right? You should be able to keep holding your trade. Yeah, exactly. We got to push above VWAP right here. That's the key. If price pushes above VWAP right here, I expect this one to at least make it up to the 5-minute unicorn up here. Which then, even with the aggressive entry, that puts you at over 120 ticks of profit. Right, so you'd be risking around, 60, let's see, like 55 to 60 ticks right here, wherever your stop is, whether it's at like 418, depending on where it is. But you're basically risking 50 to 60 ticks to catch 100 to 120 ticks. Right, so I would be looking at that. Oh, that's another thing. I forgot to chart out London High today. Where is our London High? All the way up here? Yeah, I mean, this could for sure go to London High. If this is anything like yesterday, it could. Remember what happened yesterday? We came down, we got SMT, we formed a reversal pattern, we came all the way back up to, where did we come to? Let's see. Well, first of all, we came back up to London High, right there, and then we went further all the way up to previous day high. But this could be something very similar. But again, if you're not liking the stalling that you're seeing around VWAP, then feel free to get out around break even. If you're not comfortable with this trade, then just, we're right around break even. You can get out risk free and you can be fine, or get out in the green and you can be fine. That's up to you. As long as you are aware of your risk, you know exactly what your risk to reward ratio here. You know the dollar amount and the tick amount that you're risking, the dollar amount and the tick amount that you're trying to make in profit, then you should be okay. But when you're not going to be okay is if you're risking your whole account on this trade right now. If you're over leveraging your account right now, then you're probably going to be stressing and sweating right now. And there's just no point in doing that. So this one's trying to break through VWAP here. It's trying to break through. We'll see. We'll see if it can do it. All of my analysis tells me right now that it should break through and that these longs should step in. That's what my analysis tells me. So far, right? And that's why I called this trade out. And then look, you could even look to take a TP around this high if you want to just take a nice TP around this swing high, or you can keep holding up to where I think price will go, up to like 24.6275 level. That's where I expect price to go here. So that's where I would be holding. If I took this trade, I would be holding up until this level up here. But you can also move your stop to break even. You can make this risk free. Now that it's well into the profit, right now that we are almost 70 ticks into profit here, you can always move your stop to break even. But so far the trading is looking pretty good, right? Stop loss was at a perfect level. Entry was at a perfect level. And now we're starting to see a little bit of continuation. So if you're still uncomfortable with this trade, then just move your stop to break even. Right? But if you really like the setup and you still want to give it some room, you can keep holding it with your stop, maybe move your stop up now. Maybe move your stop up a little bit to these lows here, right? Just below these lows. Maybe mitigate your risk just a little bit. Make it a smaller stop loss. And then once you're comfortable, once you feel like you're ready to move your stop to break even, you can move it to break even. Like what I would probably do is once we move above these highs, once we trade above these highs, I would probably move my stop to break even. And then wait for price to go up to my first TP up here at the 15-minute opening range high, 5-minute bearish unicorn, 15-minute civvy, and this swing high. So there's a reason that my TP would be at this high because it's such a strong magnet for price right now. I really expect price to run to that level. And now we just formed a 1-minute busy right at VWAP. Very good level. That's just extra confirmation here. If we get a bounce from here, you could even add into your position if we trade into this fair value gap, or just get the extra conviction that this one is going to keep moving up. Now ES is trading above VWAP, right? So it's starting to look pretty good. There we go. So I would move my stop to break even at this point. And if you want to take a TP, you can take a TP here. I would at least make this a risk-free trade here. I would not let this one now come back down and stop me out. This should now be a risk-free trade, right? Because this has now hit about 94 ticks, from when I called it out, the aggressive entry. So depending on your trade and your risk to reward, you could take a TP or move your stop loss to break even. I personally would not have taken a TP yet, but that's just because of my risk to reward. Because my risk to reward plan wouldn't make sense if I took a TP here, because my risk would have been about 55 to 60 ticks. So I would need to see about 110 to 120 ticks for a first TP. But if you had smaller risk or you just want to secure profit, then take your profit, right? That's okay. Because we did just take out a very key swing high up here. So yeah, that's okay to take your profit. Personally, I would just have my stop at break even right now. And I would even think about adding in here off the bounce off of fair value gap, right? And then taking TP up here. So this trade does look very nice, right? We've been talking about it from all the way down here. Finally got the entry level. And this is what I talked about, right? Like, I wouldn't have cared about any of this. I don't care about any of this until I see my entry model, because even with this entry model, we still see really nice reward on this trade. It might not be 300 ticks, but it's still 100 plus ticks, right, that we're looking for. So it's still a nice trade setup. Now I just got to see if price is going to fall through here. Just got to see if price is going to fall through at this point. But even if it doesn't, you're now risk-free and you're not going to take a loss. So even if this doesn't fall through, you're not taking a loss on this trade. That means you're just hitting a break-even trade, or maybe you took TP and now this is a winning trade. A good re-entry point would be around this 1 minute fair value gap. If you see a good bounce from this fair value gap, this could be a very solid re-entry point. I'm not liking the wicks on the 15 and the 5 minute too much. But if this 5 minute closes above right here, that means we have a bullish order block on the 5 minute, which would be a nice order block, nice support level. So we closed above, creating the order block, so that 1 minute fair value gap could be a good entry. If you see a nice bounce from this fair value gap right above VWAP, that would be a decent re-entry point. I'd be careful with ES moving below VWAP over here. We want to see ES continuing up. At 1034 is the unicorn model, right? Sorry, I'm trying to get used to it. 1034, 1034, 1034, 1034. Oh, the bearish unicorn? Yes. Like, are you talking about this one right here? So this isn't technically a unicorn right here. Because what you'd want to see for a unicorn model would be like a high or a low, a high, a lower low, and then we come back up and displace the highs. That would be a unicorn with the fair value gap. Like this one right here, right? We had a high, a low, a higher high, and then we displaced the lows with the fair value gap. So that was a 1 minute bearish unicorn right there. But this technically wouldn't be a unicorn because we've just made a high, low, higher, high. We technically have not created the unicorn. Yeah, honest money. I will reach out to our mentorship class after the session, and we can have a discussion together. But yeah, I'll kind of let you know. Most likely, that's probably something that I'll do. Might just have to postpone it a week. But we can have that discussion and figure it out and see what's best for everybody. But I appreciate that a lot. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, so this one's coming down, right? And that's why I said make this risk-free. Make this risk-free, because if this one's not falling through, all right, that's a break-even stop. Okay, you move on. And if you took a TP, cool, that's a winning trade. But now you didn't take a loss here because you moved your stop to break even. That's fine. It's a break even stop. Not a big deal. So how many people did take a TP and how many people didn't take a TP? And what was your reasoning? Right? Because you need to have a reasoning. Like, why did you take TP? Why did you not take TP? Did you move your stop to break even? Did you feel comfortable with the trade you were taking? right? Because we just came up and swept equal highs, but then we just absolutely dumped. And now we're back below VWAP, and we're creating a bearish breaker block here. Let's look at the 15. That 15-minute wick is kind of nasty. 5-minute is kind of nasty here. Very strong dump. So we're creating a bearish unicorn, bearish breaker block here. Right, so now we have this bearish breaker. Bearish breaker block right here. And this one looks like it might want to come back down. So now you might start looking to target shorts again. Might start looking to target the shorts again here. We might have a unicorn model. We might have a bearish unicorn model here. Yeah, so we grabbed equal highs. We did not want to trade into the 5-minute. Like I said, I wanted to see us trade into this 5-minute, 15-minute fair value gap, 5-minute unicorn. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to see a dump here. So this is when you start looking for a possible short entry again, right? Where now you're looking here to see, okay, do we get a bounce off a bearish unicorn model? If we do, you're looking to catch it all the way down to the lows, right? We got a break of structure back down to sell side. Yeah, we have not tapped back into the unicorn the whole morning. But now we have a 5-minute or a 1-minute bearish unicorn right here. A little 5-minute busy that we're going to need to fight through. So order flow just completely flipped, right? We were expecting bullish, bullish, bullish. We grabbed buy side and now we've completely flipped. And now we're looking for bearish order flow here. Right? Looks like we're about to get inversion of the 5-minute. But we also just formed a 1-minute bearish unicorn model. So again, I'd be looking for an entry short off the unicorn, and I'd be looking to catch this one all the way down to the lows. But as I said, yeah, like if you guys are struggling with your psychology right now, you can't seem to handle your emotions, just stay out and walk away. But this is why risk management is so key, because even on this trade where it looked very good, we at least made it to some buy side. If you would have just not moved your stop to break even, you would have just gotten your stop absolutely taken out aggressively, and you'd probably be upset right now. Right? You have to have your reasonings and manage your risk the right way. Like I said, I've walked you through exactly what I would have done on this trade. And yeah, I would have got stopped at break even personally. But that's something I would have been fine with because I liked the trade setup. I wanted to see a little bit more expansion, and it didn't happen. Right? But I wouldn't be upset because it's a break even stop. I would still be at break even, right? So it's not really a big deal. That's why you got to manage your risk. Now you're starting to look for the shorts off this 1-minute unicorn here. So I would have probably taken this entry right here, right? Gotten the short entry right here off this 1-minute bearish unicorn, kept my stop above the fair value gap, and then I'd be looking to target the lows. And there's the shorts. There's the shorts. So if I did get that entry, and I probably would have gotten filled around here, right? That's another trade where it's already at about 70 ticks. Another trade where it's already about 70 ticks. So I'd be looking to hold down, you know, honestly, probably all the way down to here for almost 200 ticks of profit. But I would think about taking a TP earlier if there's nothing, you know, if we don't continue, if we get some stalling. But look, we're about to get inversion of a 5-minute SIBI or a busy right here. If we inverse that 5-minute busy, I would probably already think about moving my stop to break even on this trade, right? Another one where I'd probably already think about moving my stop to break even. It's already been 83 ticks, right? So we're in a 1-minute busy. I'd think about maybe, you know, moving it to break even here and then continuing to hold and letting this one ride all the way down to the lows. Later, Mike. Later, Mike Easy. Appreciate you, man. Later, MB. All right, so is anybody in these shorts right now? Did you guys get the entry? And if you are you holding your stop at break even? Are you holding your stop above the fair value gap? Are you looking to take a TP already? Are you holding down for a bigger TP? Okay, so some of you guys are in the shorts here. Stop loss above, stop at break even. Okay, all right, so Remember, stick to your plan. Stick to your plan here. The shorts look very good, but you got to stick to your plan. When we have some bullish imbalances, you got to expect a little bit of pullback off these levels. But these shorts do look very solid. And especially once we inverse the 5-minute busy right here, I like these shorts all the way back down to low of day. I think they will try to make it down to low of day. So you could look for just risk to reward TPs here. Or what you could look for is you could use the fib off the bearish unicorn on the 1 minute. Okay, first standard deviation already hit. Or you could hold down for second standard deviation about 126 ticks. You could hold down to third for our next standard deviation, which is at these lows, right? Look at how well our standard deviation levels are lining up with this move right now. Right, we got another voice crack. We got first right below the 5-minute, second right here, third right below these lows in the fair value gap, fourth right at low of day, fifth almost exactly in alignment with our hourly swing low. So these standard deviation levels are lined up almost perfectly with the TP levels we're looking for. So I would definitely, look to use these as some TP. Like you could take first TP here, around 100, 120, 130 ticks depending on where your entry was. We are almost at the end of the hour, so just be aware of some manipulation. Be careful of manipulation right now. Going into the end of the hour. But these shorts are starting to look pretty good here. Right, so you can make this completely risk-free, move your stop to break even. You could keep your stop above. All right, just manage your risk as this trade moves. But these standard deviation levels look like some good TP. They lined up pretty well with our liquidity. That's what I use. I don't use standard deviations purely for TP. I use them in alignment with my liquidity. When I see my standard deviation levels are exactly aligned with my liquidity levels, that gives me extra conviction that it's a very good level that price might come to, a very good liquidity level, and a good target for a TP. Again, we have 10 seconds until this hourly candle closes, so just be careful of manipulation right now at the end of the hour. Right, you might even want to move your stop to break even. Again, it's up to you how you want to risk this, but we just got full inversion of the 5-minute. Full inversion of the 5-minute, so now this is a 5-minute inverse. So you'd want to see a bounce off this inverse, and you'd want to see us come down to this low. Right, so again, if I got the entry I wanted right there, right, if I were trading today, I might have thought about taking a TP right here, 118 ticks, almost, basically a 1 to 2 there. I would definitely think about taking that. But ultimately, I would want to hold down for this low just because that's where I probably would have my limit order. But if we're stalling a bunch down here, you can always just take your TP right here, right? Don't be stubborn. Just take your TP when it's there. This is not a bad TP level. We're still sitting above 100 ticks, right? So you can take your TP, move your stop to break even, and then let the rest ride. Or if you really want to catch a bigger move, you just move your stop loss to break even, or you even let your stop loss stay up here, and you hold it all the way down to these lows and then to low of day. Are we currently in a bullish unicorn model or not? So not technically. We would be if we had come down. So on the 15-minute, we already inversed the 15-minute bullish unicorn from yesterday. And then on the 1 minute, right here, this is not technically a unicorn because we never made a lower low, so we never came down and swept liquidity, creating the unicorn. Right, it's a 1 minute bullish for value gap, and it kind of is a little bit of a breaker because ES made the breaker, but I don't see this as super valid at this point. I expect us to try to run through this model right here. That's my expectation. What's a good re-entry point? You could look for a re-entry based on this 5-minute inverse. You could wait for us to trade into the 5-minute inverse up here. Right here, right? We trade back into it. You could look for an entry there. Or you could wait for the next 1 minute bearish for value gap entry. But as I said before, guys, take your TP when we're stalling like this. Don't be stubborn. We almost hit that TP level, so just take your TP. Don't be stubborn at a level like this. With the way price action's moving today, we're not seeing crazy expansion yet. We're just seeing these quick legs, quick distribution legs without a lot of fall through. So when you see a quick move like that, now you know just to take your TP and probably move your stop loss to break even, and then just hold your runners if you want to catch a little bit more. right? But don't be stubborn after catching 100, almost 120 ticks here. Just look for profit. Look for profit on a day like this, and then call it a day. So that is the re-entry point I was talking about, right? The 5-minute inverse right here. 5-minute inverse was a good re-entry point. We're just bouncing a lot off this 1-minute busy, but I expect us to try to start running through this busy here pretty soon. At least that's what I'd want to see us do here. But with the way price action has moved today, we have seen a lot of back and forth manipulation, right? We haven't really seen any follow through. A lot of seek and destroy, but I would want to see us come down and grab these lows here. So again, we'll see if we bounce off this inverse. I'll hang out with you guys for those of you that are in this trade. For those of you that are in this trade still, have we taken TP? Have we moved our stop to break even? What are we doing right now? How is this trade going for you? My recommendation to you was to take a TP down here and move your stop to break even. That was what I probably would have done in that situation. Like almost 100%, I would have taken my TP here because I would have learned from this trade not to hold too long and just take my TP there and move on. So I would have taken my TP here, moved my stop to break even, because now look at what price is doing. Now I would have gotten stop to break even, right? And that's fine. Or if you're willing to hold this one, you can still hold your stop above. If you still see potential for this one to drop, you can still keep your stop above if you didn't take a TP. But personally, in this market, guys, that probably would have been my last trade. Just because of the way the market's moving, I would have taken my TP when we were stalling, like I talked about. I called it out, right? Move my stop to break even, taken my profit, and I would be done for the day, or at least done for a while. Just because this price action is not seeing the follow through that you'd want to see. With earnings coming out later, just the way the market's moving, I'd be done. I'd honestly be done here. I would probably be a little bit in the green after catching 100 and something ticks, selling half my position. Cool. I would take my profit and run. That's what I would do personally. Right, for those of you that might still be holding, I would just be careful at this point, just because we're not seeing the follow through on NQ that we would expect on a normal day. We did just trade into the 1-minute unicorn, so this is where you would need to see a bounce from. You would need to see a bounce from the unicorn, and then you would need to see us start inversing this 1-minute busy, right? And that could be your next entry model right here. If you do expect continuation to sell side, this is the next entry model. Bounce off a unicorn, inversion of a 1-minute busy, shorts down to these lows. And if you're still holding your original trade, cool, you could keep holding it, right? I wouldn't be holding because my trade would have already been stopped out at break even, and that's fine. But right here, this is the next entry model that you could look to use. So bounce off the unicorn, inversion of a 1-minute busy. You wait for us to retest the busy and the inverse, or you get the entry red as we're inversing, and then you hold the shorts down all the way down. So this looks a little bit better. Got that nice inversion here. So there's been a few good trade setups. We've had the right idea on pretty much every trade, but obviously price has come back pretty quick. So you just want to take your TP when it's there. Just take your profit when it's there. Full port in the shorts. But yeah, guys, I'll hold. I'll stay on just for the rest of this. Trade to see where this one goes. But I'll probably hop off after this, and and I would advise you guys to do the same, just to take a break. Take your profits. We've seen some good trade setups, a few of them. Some of them maybe break even, but you should not have taken any losses today. Not necessarily. I don't think there's been any trades that you should have taken a loss on that I've called out. Not that I am aware of. If at the most you should be at break even, or you should be green, right? With the trades we've talked about today, you should either be at break even or in the green, and either of those are pretty solid. And if you're not, then you gotta ask yourself, why am I not at break even? Why am I not in the green? What did I do? What did I do that maybe I shouldn't have done? And learn from it. All right, so we'll see if this one gets continuation. All right, at least down to second standard deviation off the unicorn, and then maybe down to third and fourth. But yet again, let's say you just got a re-entry off the unicorn, or you got a re-entry off the inversion here. Now you're just holding again down to this low. You're holding down for these lows. As we start to drop, you're moving your stop loss down. You're either moving it to break even, or you're moving it, a little bit down more and more. You're keeping your stop above the inverse fair value gap if you got your entry down here. And then if you got your entry up here, you're probably either keeping it above the fair value gap, or you're having it at break even now. Because again, we just hit 100 ticks, right? Let's say you got a re-entry here, same exact entry as the one from before. We just hit 106 ticks. So that's another TP. You could even take a TP if you got an entry from up here. Or just move your stop to break even. If you got your entry down here, I would keep holding with your stop above maybe. Wait for a bounce off this fair value gap. Wait for continuation down to sell side. All right, this is how I'd be managing my trades here. But at the end of the day, you got to make the decision for yourself. How are you going to handle your trades? How are you going to manage it? Trade depending on your style. What is your trading style? And go based upon that. So I will say good luck to you guys that are in trades today. Remember to stay disciplined the entire day. Stay disciplined with your trading. I think we've had some decent trade setups today. And although I'm not trading, hopefully you guys have learned a lot today about these trade setups. And hopefully I'm still able to, help you guys with some educational stuff. I hope you guys have been able to learn and be able to still take trades throughout this, because there's been some decent trade setups. And just keep this discipline rolling. Keep on doing what you do every single day. Don't change it up. Don't let the emotions take control. Right? And if you are in a place like me, maybe where you're in a high emotional state, then just don't trade. Like, I'm not going to trade this entire day. I will most likely not trade all of tomorrow and all of Friday. Unless something changes where I feel comfortable with trading. I am self-aware enough, and I've done the introspection to realize that I should not be trading. I should not be risking capital. That's just not where I'm at right now this week until next week. And if that's you, you should do the same exact thing. Right? So I really do appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate all of your amazing messages that you guys have sent me in the past few days. It truly means more than you guys know. Just going through a hard time right now. Your guys' support is everything to me, so thank you so much. But that's going to be it for me here. I think this might be the only session I run today, guys. Well, there's TP right there, guys. There's TP. I don't think I'm going to run prop firm today. I think this is going to be my only session of the day. But remember, John is going to take care of you guys with education. And for those of you that are in this trade, that's TP1 right there, right? That's TP, or that's full TP. Good stuff, Omar. But yeah, guys, I love you all. I really do appreciate you so much. Thank you for being there for me, for supporting me. This is a real community. You guys are the best. So yeah, that's probably going to be it for me today. But honestly, right here is all you need. You should have just caught, a few hundred ticks on this trade right here alone. So I will talk to you guys later. Let me know if you guys have questions throughout the day. Again, I'll try to respond to the best I can. But I can't promise that I will be super responsive right away. But all right, guys, have a great rest of your day. God bless you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.